One of the biggest interview mistakes smart people make is taking interview questions too literally. If you don't know me, I'm Diana. I'm an OBS career growth strategist. I'm the host of Work Should Feel Good. And I just got off a coaching call with a client who is interviewing for positions in marketing that require AI. And he's a really thoughtful person that thinks through everything and sometimes overthinks. And one of the things he told me was a golden piece of advice I hadn't thought about in quite this way is that if someone asked you, walk me through your resume, you should never, never literally walk someone through your resume. That is not what they are asking. But when people are asked that question, a lot of times it's the very first question of the very first interview. And you lose the people that you're trying to get to hire you right away because you summarize every single job, usually in a way that's kind of boring. You're explaining almost every bullet. You're sweating over how to explain why you left a job. And you start 20 years ago and just keep on rambling. What they're really evaluating with this question is not what is on your resume. They already read it. You wouldn't be in the interview if somebody hadn't read it, even if they only read it for a few seconds before the interview because they didn't have time to prepare. What they're really evaluating is how do you fit? How does what your background is and what results you bring fit in with the role that they're interviewing for, as well as your desire, like just what you're about as a human. So they're looking at your communication skills, your ability to prioritize what you talk about, your presence, whether it's on Zoom or in person. Like, do you look interested? Do you look professional? And are you clear and relevant and confident? One of the things I see in my particular line of business as a career coach is that smart people are struggling with this question almost more than anything else, other than why did you literally get fired for cause? And there's a few reasons for that. The first thing is that it feels like such a high stakes question, and we all have lived so much life. Even somebody that's just like 25 years old and only trying to get their second job out of college. We've lived so much life, it's hard to know what to distill down into. And so we just end up talking about everything. Another thing that happens is we are somehow told that we need to be complete whenever we discuss things, whenever we're talking about ourselves, whenever we're giving answers in interviews. But we get confused on complete versus comprehensive. So instead of saying, I've done A, B, and C in my background that makes me a great fit here, makes this role really aligned to what I'm about and where I want to go, we end up trying to tell the whole story. Another thing that people are trying to do is prove confidence. Like, we'll be in the tell me about yourself, or sorry, walk me through your resume question, and just end up trying to give every single skill you've learned, every single major project you did, everything, and over kind of proving your competence, but you're spraying so much things at people that you end up sounding insecure. And then you talk around yourself over and over again because you're afraid of leaving stuff out. So the biggest thing that I see in interviews, especially though, this question about tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume or whatever that is, they come in not talking like themselves. They'll talk about themselves, but they're not talking like themselves. And instead, it sounds like instead of the person bringing themselves to the interview, they brought their weird, awkward representative that has a different personality, a different vocabulary, and just doesn't show up the same way that they'll show up day to day on the job, which I think is a really bad idea, if I'm being really honest. So, anytime you are getting asked any interview question, including and especially walk me through your resume, people are looking for clarity on you. They're looking for clarity on you and what you bring to the table. They're not looking for a list of 50 skills. They're not looking for 20 years of backstory. They're not looking for justification of your existence as a professional. They're just looking for clarity of alignment. And then all the rest of the stuff that they need to hear about, they'll hear with other interview questions. That's it for today. This is my only one of my first lives on YouTube. And I signed up for a challenge to do one every single day for a week. So hopefully I'll be less awkward by a week from now. But I will promise you this tomorrow, I'm actually going to come on here and break down exactly how to answer the question, tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume without rambling like I kind of just did for 5 minutes. Hope y'all have a great day.